Woman comes back with a shocking message from the other side. We all know that death is inevitable, but what about those that experience it more than once in their lives? There are only a few people on Earth that have experienced near-death experiences, NDE, and they were miraculously brought back. While bringing back someone who has passed is indeed a miracle performed by doctors and first responders, a Phoenix resident was extremely lucky. This is her story that has shocked an entire world. It was a cold February morning when Tina Hines just collapsed. It seemed like that was it, but paramedics tried to resuscitate her 6 times. She was even pronounced dead for nearly half an hour but finally came back. She had a life-changing message for the living that has inspired the whole world. Some people are technically dead and have no memory of that time. However, studies show that around 10 to 20% people experience visual or sensory episodes during those moments. Scientists have gotten close to discovering what happens during these near-death experiences. It may sound mystical, but it's not. Here's what they theorize about NDEs and why Tina's experience was so incredible. According to a study published in 2013 in the journal PNAS, Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, there may be an explanation for the experiences near-death survivors have. Scientists believe that the survivors' brain activity is higher than when they are in a conscious state just before death. This is what the study author stated about NDE. The lead author of the study, Jimo Borjajan, explained that a lot of people thought that the brain after clinical death was inactive or hypoactive, with less activity than the waking state, and we show that is definitely not the state. If anything, it is much more active during the dying process than even the waking state, added Borjajan, University of Michigan, in an interview with the BBC. But what did Tina's brain discover while she was fighting for her life? Tina and Brian had known each other for over 3 decades, since they met at California's Biola University. That's where Brian laid his eyes on his future wife. The college sweethearts lasted through the years, and in an interview with Phoenix's American Heart Association, Brian recalled how full of energy his wife has been ever since they met. Brian said, "She was tall, she was athletic. She'd be jogging by or she could be going someplace, and I'd say, 'Hey, what are you doing?' And she'd say, 'I'm going running.' So I'd say hi to her." The two struck a friendship and their relationship eventually progressed. "A friendship started, and then we got engaged," Brian recalled. "Then, 6 months later, we got married," said Brian, recalling that she made the things that I liked to do, she made them better by being there. And his feelings are the same now, almost 3 decades later. But Brian wasn't the only one praising Tina for being a great person. Their family friend also told Phoenix's American Heart Association just how much loved she was by everyone. Everyone that knew Brian and Tina could agree that the couple and their family were like a breath of fresh air. Tina is adored by everybody. Brian and Tina, their family, they spread so much joy and happiness in everybody's life. The young couple then settled in Phoenix, Arizona, and welcomed to their family 4 children. Just close to their home, Tina and Brian's life was about to be shattered that morning when Tina had her heart attack that left her dead for nearly half an hour. "It was just like any normal Monday," recalled her husband. The two were just coming back from a hike when it happened. Jeff had called Brian earlier that day, and he was on his way to their house to meet them. "When I got there, Tina and I were standing shoulder to shoulder 1 second, Jeff recalled. The next second, Tina had fallen virtually straight face forward into the rocks. He realized what was happening and yelled at Brian, who was just coming out of the house. Just moments before, Tina was alright, and now Brian was confused by the scene in front of him. His wife was laying on the ground. He called the emergency services and was told to lie her on her back and perform CPR. Together with Jeff, the two made the best of this situation and tried to keep Tina alive until the first responders arrived. Jeff, immediately, because I'm talking to the 911 operator, he started pushing down on Tina's chest. Neither one of us had had any kind of training at all. As Jeff got tired after performing CPR, Brian carried on. Here was the girl that I'd known for 30+ years, that's worked out every day to not have this happen. And here she is dying. I was just pushing as hard as I could. Though his wife was losing her life. Although not young anymore, she was very healthy. But that morning, she died. In an interview with AZ Family, Brian recalled with tears in his eyes that fateful moment. Her eyes didn't close, and they were rolled back in her head. She was purple and not making any noise or breathing. Tina is a happy mom of 4, an incredible wife, and as some may say, healthy as a horse. So what was wrong with her? She worked out regularly and had a healthy lifestyle and diet. However, she went into cardiac arrest right in front of Brian. Soon, he'd learn the terrible truth about his wife's struggle to stay alive. As soon as the paramedics arrived, Tina received CPR and got defibrillated 6 times until they arrived to the hospital. In total, this woman was dead for 27 minutes. Finally, the doctors were able to make Tina's heart pump blood. She was stable, despite the sudden collapse. A firefighter at the scene was stunned. We ended up shocking her 3 times on scene and 2 en route. "I've never shocked anyone 5 times, said one of the firefighters that were at the scene. But this was just the beginning. A paramedic agreed that was a witness to a miracle. However, one more miracle would soon happen, and Tina was the one revealing it once again. Tina's story was incredible, but it didn't end with her coming back from the other side. Her survival was miraculous, but what she had to say about the other side was even more remarkable. Tina woke up in the hospital and realized she couldn't speak, since she was intubated. However, that didn't stop her to send her family a message from the other side. As soon as Tina woke up, she tried to gesture for a piece of paper and pen. Both her family and the hospital staff were surprised. Tina's first wish was to write. She had been lifeless for nearly half an hour, and she wanted to say something. She tried scribbling something that at first was illegible. Then, the lines began making sense. It looked like a childish drawing or Chinese letters. Nobody realized what she was trying to write, until the lines got clearer. There were 2 words. The handwriting was bad, but considering Tina's adventure to the other side, nobody complained about it. Then, they saw the message she was sending. She wrote 2 words, "It's real." What did she mean with that? The people in the room looked at Tina and asked her what's real. They waited until tears welled up in her eyes and she nodded up to heaven. As soon as the intubation was out, she could explain what happened as she was unconscious. She caught a glimpse at how heaven really looked. Tina explained she saw a colorful and vibrant heaven. It was so real, the colors were so vibrant. Then she saw Jesus. The woman saw the figure of Jesus during her brief brush with death. He was standing in front of the gates, and there were yellow lights coming from behind. Weeks after Tina got better, she and Brian went to thank all of the people that helped her stay alive. The couple went to visit the 911 call handler and the firefighters that arrived to assist them on the day Tina almost lost her life. One of the rescuers said he will never forget that moment. "It's one of those calls that none of us will ever forget. I was a witness to a miracle is the way I look at it," said a rescuer. But Tina was not done saying her thanks. As she finished thanking each and everyone for saving her life, she turned to Brian. Turning towards Brian, Tina said in those few moments, "If I was on my own, everything could have been different." She was grateful her husband of 3 decades was there to save her life. Tina's niece was so happy her aunt survived that she knew she had to honor this story. Little did Tina and her niece know that this story would go viral. As a permanent reminder of this incredible experience Tina had, her niece Maddie shared this story on Instagram along with the image of a tattoo. On her wrist, Maddie had those words tattooed, down to the childlike writing. Here's her message to the world. She was put on a defibrillator and after miraculously waking up the first thing she did, unable to speak, because she was intubated, was ask for a pen, and in my cousin's journal wrote "It's real," recalled Maddie. The people in the room asked what's real. And she responded by pointing up to heaven with tears in her eyes, wrote Maddie on Instagram. Her story is too real not to share, and has given me a stronger confidence in a faith that so often goes unseen. Everyone near Tina had a permanent reminder or her experience. On Instagram, nearly 30,000 people found this story incredible. They all encouraged Tina, sending their best wishes and celebrating her being alive. Tina replied to the photo that was shared on Facebook, adding that she may get a similar tattoo in the future. Although the world has different ideologies and religions, we all strive to find peace in the afterlife. Tina's message saying it's real is an inspiration for those that wish for tranquility. It's a comfort to know what will happen to us after we die. We don't usually like to talk about death, but Tina was there and came back. This is indeed a miracle. Suede Silver was the tattoo artist that inked Maddie's wrist. He said that the tattoo was a special opportunity for him to learn about this story. He encouraged his friends and followers to read this story. Many other people had shared their NDE and visions after they or their loved ones had briefly visited the other side. Although scientists believe that our brains create these images through high-frequency brainwaves, people claim they have been to heaven. Take for instance another person like Tina. Brian Miller had a major heart attack and was left unconscious for 45 minutes. In those 45 minutes, he was able to see his departed family members and even visit heaven. In an interview with Fox News, Miller said he saw the light and just kept walking towards it. After that, he saw a path with flowers and a man and a woman greeted him, telling him it was time to go back to Earth. A woman named Crystal McVie was dead for nearly 10 minutes. Crystal said she saw two angels. What I saw and felt was just this beautiful, radiant, glowing light. That's the only word I can even think to describe it. She believes she saw the Holy Trinity. Another NDE story includes butterflies. Eben Alexander was in an accident in 2012, and he went to the other side and was surrounded by butterflies. He was in heaven and a woman told him he had nothing to fear. Is heaven really real or not? Tina would definitely say it is indeed real.